Welcome, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm Peggy Hall from thehealthyamerican.org. I live in California. I am a longtime educator in California. I have been an educator at the university and college level for over 30 years. I worked for many years at UC Irvine, University of California, Irvine. So the UC system is overseen now by Janet Napolitano. And this individual just issued an executive order. Now, I worked for the university for many years, and I have never heard of an executive order coming from the president of the University of California directed to the students and the faculty and the staff in this manner. And I'm going to explain and expose exactly what it is. And you know me, I like to dig deeper, and you are just going to love what I uncovered. So partly, this video is also a message to Janet Napolitano. And Janet, it seems as though you might be confused as to what some of your authority actually entails. Because when I looked at your executive order and I actually looked at the authority that you cited, well, why don't we take a look at it together, shall we? I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. And this is an executive order, July 31st, and it has that nice state seal from the University of California. And there is the background. This ultimately leads to a very strong recommendation of a flu vaccine for students, staff, and faculty. And all this background you can read if you like. What I want to do is look at this. So there's all the background, and now here is the executive order, and it says that on the authority vested in me. What that means is that there is legal authority for an individual, a public official, or a body, a governing body like a city council or a legislative body or a board of supervisors of the county. They actually need to have legal authority in order to take actions. Otherwise, if you have power without legal authority, that's called being a tyrant. And the type of government is called tyranny, or the type of action and force without legal authority is called tyranny. So why don't we put that to the test with Janet Napolitano, and we'll see whether this individual is acting lawfully or whether there is power without authority. So the note here is on the authority invested in me by bylaw 30. Well, what I did is I went and I looked at bylaw 30, and this is from the UC Regents, and I'm going to show you it's right here. Bylaw 30, here it is, Board of Regents, bylaw 30. Now you can read all of this. I actually summarized it, and I came up with 7, and I don't know if this is backwards or not. No, I came up with 7 points that are in this. And this is what, Janet, if you're listening, I hope you are, this is what you can do. You can implement the policies of the board. In fact, why don't I just show this here? And that way you can see it. So what the University of California president can do is implement the policy of the board. The president does the day-to-day operations. The president does the budget and spending. The president is the academic leader. The president upholds the law and policy. Oh, that's an important one, because in California, we have actually non-discrimination laws, and your religious liberty and your medical disability, as well as your gender, your age, your ethnicity, all of that is protected by education law in California. And the president is supposed to promote diversity and is the administrative spokesperson. That is what is entailed in that bylaw. So yes, it gives authority to this person to be the operations manager, right? The executive, kind of like you would have in the governor or a mayor. So I didn't see anything about instituting vaccines or having, I didn't see anything here about health, medical intervention, none of that. So, okay, that one doesn't apply, but it does give this person authority to be the head of the UC. So that's fine. All right, let's take a look now at that second bylaw, shall we? Because Janet, you showed us this now, bylaw 22.1. This is your authority to tell us that each campus shall strongly encourage universal vaccination. This is your authority that you're telling us. And that means this is the basis. These are the grounds that you have to tell individuals to get a vaccine by the authority of bylaw 22.1. Let's take a look now, shall we? 22.1. Well, you know what I did, friends? I actually summarized that too. So you can read it if you want. It's very short. It actually says that all of the powers of the UC system actually are in the board. And now the board delegated those powers to the president. So the regions hereby delegate authority to the president to oversee the operation of the university as further specified in bylaw 30, which we just looked at. Okay, so the delegation is subject to the powers here in bylaw 22.2. So this is what Janet, as the president of the UC, University of California, this is what Janet Napolitano can do. This person, okay, can work in governance matters, academic matters, finance matters, capital project, which means spending money, investing money, appointment and compensation. That means that this person can appoint different people and set their salary. Okay, oh, what is health matters? Well, approving acquisitions of physician practices, hospitals, clinics, and other health-related transactions. That means that the university can purchase a hospital, okay? Or the university can purchase a doctor's practice or a clinic. That's what that means with health matters. Compliance means following the law, taking care of litigation, and bidding on or entering into contracts. You know what? No, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I actually summarized bylaw 22, that the board delegates the authority over operations of the university. That's basically it. So Janet, that's what you get to do under bylaw 22. So let's see, 2 strikes. We have not yet seen anything about vaccines. What authority you have to state that anyone, including the employees, the staff, or the students, that they should strongly have vaccines. Let's take another look here, shall we? Because we also have by the president, so Janet Napolitano, the president of the University of California, said that bylaw 30 gives her authority, bylaw 22.1 gives her authority, and Regents Policy 1500, let's take a look at that. Okay, these are the guidelines for what she can do, the role of the president. So I read this carefully. You're welcome to read it carefully as well. This person's in charge of management and planning, financial resources, consultation with the faculty, and diversity. I summarized it. This is what that law says, that the president is an academic leader, the president's the CEO, the external advocate, you know, interacting with the community, and this person should ensure legal and ethical compliance. I don't see anything about being a health officer or having the authority to recommend or strongly recommend vaccines. It's not there. Nothing about health whatsoever. But there is one more authority that she cites, so we'll take a look again, shall we? And here we go. The president of the university, Janet Napolitano, also said that her authority comes from Standing Order 100.4 EE. Well, guess what? I found Standing Order 100.4 EE. Let's take a look here. And it is, so you don't get seasick with my scrolling, I also summarized it for you here. And we go all the way down to EE. Sorry about that. I don't like to see the scrolling either, but I want to show it to you. Okay, anything contained in the subsection above, the president is authorized to take all actions and execute all documents necessary in the exercise of the president's duty when an emergency precludes prior submission to the board. Now, so let's take a look at that. What can the person do? All right, so the I want to go here. Actually, I'm going to have to go back up to the top here to show you what this standing order. So if you want to close your eyes for a second, you don't get seasick with the, okay, duties of the president. The president shall be the executive head of the university and have full authority and responsibility over the administration of all affairs and operations of the university, excluding only those activities which are the responsibility of the secretary and chief of staff. In fact, this doesn't even relate to anything to do with health whatsoever. I summarized it here as well. The Standing Order 100EE says that the president can take actions to execute documents. All right, so good try, as we would say. What I want to do is go back to the actual document, to this actual executive order, and let me share my screen one more time so that we can take a look at what Janet Napolitano, the president of the University of California, wrote. Well, we just established that there is no authority for this individual to direct the taking of vaccines. Now, it's true that this is the person who is the executive of the University of California. And because students, faculty, and staff, wow, holy smokes, I just saw this, and their families? Huh. Okay, you guys know, because I've been teaching this for some time, an executive order is just for those departments and agencies under that executive. So when I worked for the university, actually, I was under those executive orders because I worked for the university, and I had a lot of bosses, and I guess the ultimate boss would have been Janet Napolitano. It was somebody else at the time. But their families don't work for the university. So this is completely unlawful, illegal, unprecedented, and should not stand. So the families are not under any obligation whatsoever, in the very least, to do anything that this individual states whatsoever. There is no legal authority for it. I've gotten so many emails from people regarding this executive order, so I wanted to explain it. Now, rest assured that it does say strongly encourage. Strongly encourage is not a law. There is no legal authority. Strongly encourage is just that, to encourage. You don't, when you file a lawsuit, you file a suit against someone breaking the law. You can't file an encourage suit or a guideline suit. As I mentioned in a previous video, that doesn't exist. So the good news is this actually isn't even an order. It's not a public order in terms of a public health order or a court order or anything like that. This is an encouragement. It has no legal enforcement whatsoever. It certainly does not have any authority because, as we just looked, none of these bylaws have anything to do with this individual requiring or directing you to get a vaccination. There was nothing there that had anything to do with public health or with the health of the university. It was all about numbers and management and so forth. Now, if they wanted to change that, they need to change that through a lawmaking legislative procedure where there is open debate and these laws are voted on and passed in a lawmaking way. So also, I would like to show you that now here's where they get really kind of funny. So it says they shall strongly encourage, and then it goes on with some funny business. And it says that, oh, there's a deadline for an encouragement. I don't get that, okay? Now, the students, there is an immunization policy, and that is probably something that has a little bit more weight. I do need to look into that, but there is an immunization exemption policy. In fact, we will take a look at that. Here it says, effective November 1st, no person, blah, 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 may report to that site for work unless they have received the flu vaccine or an approved medical exemption. So there is, of course, there must be a medical exemption, and requests for disability and religious accommodations will be adjudicated through the interactive process consistent with existing location policies and procedures. That means wherever you work, They probably already have some kind of procedure to allow for your religious accommodations. For example, perhaps you are someone who adheres to the religion of Islam and you want to have Friday afternoons off to do your prayer, then the university would allow for that. They would accommodate that in the individual locations. So what I would like to do, so then this goes on, and the person signed it. Okay. I find it interesting that there's no witness. Normally there has to be a witness to an executive order. I have never heard of this kind of executive order. I may have overlooked it because maybe it wasn't important to me when I was an employee of UC system. But I don't recall seeing this kind of action. Very, very interesting. The university is a type of government. So and this is the executive, so I guess there can be an executive order. I want to look at this, the immunization exemption policy. I'm going in fresh here, friends. I don't know what this will hold, but I find this fascinating. I hope that you do too. And this is all about medical exemptions for the University of California, requests for the medical exemption. So there is a protocol and you can follow that. And I will just leave you to do this if it's something that looks quite detailed. So there is a protocol. The other thing I thought that looked interesting was this immunization policy for students. So this is what the University of California requires for all incoming students. And it looks like this happened in 2016. Now, I worked for the university for many, many years. Never had a flu shot, never had to have any kind of immunization. So this is all new to me. And it, again, the document is here. Let's see what they require. What do you think it will be? What do you think these immunizations will be? Do they say what they are? Did I miss that? Does it say which, I don't even see, did I miss it? Well, what are you supposed to be immunized for? Oh, okay. Students must provide proof of immunity to respiratory transmitted vaccine preventable diseases. All right. And undergo screening for tuberculosis. Screening, I did do. I did have to do this. It was not invasive. They looked at me. They said, how do you feel? I feel fine. And then that was it. I did not get tested for TB because that injects TB, at least one of the tests do. Now, here's what I want to bring your attention to. Students must provide proof of immunity to respiratory transmitted vaccine preventable diseases. How do they know that it's preventable by a vaccine? By a vaccine? And the reason I say this is because the flu vaccine doesn't prevent the flu. That's why people still get the flu. That's why even the CDC, with all of their faulty numbers, still the CDC states that the efficacy, which means how often it works for a flu vaccine, is only about 40%. That's why they keep coming up with more and more flu vaccines every year, because they don't work. So I would also take that up if I happened to be a student that needed to be vaccinated. I would want irrefutable proof of a vaccine that prevents disease and that does not have adverse, irreversible, life-threatening side effects. And we know that all vaccines carry a risk. That's why there is a vaccine court in the United States outside of the regular court system, which is highly irregular, to have this. And the special court will hear the cases from those individuals and families who have been harmed by a vaccine. And in some cases that has been death. And that vaccine court has paid out an enormous amount of money to these individuals who have been harmed. If the vaccines were safe, there would not be a separate court and there would not be all of these payouts. One of the most common side effects of vaccines, and that has been happening for years, is paralysis. So because it harms your nervous system. I will be bringing more and more information about vaccines. I will be bringing on board specialists and those who are experts in vaccines. And if you are interested at all, please watch my video that I entitled, Could This Be Happening to Women in the United States? And it's my story of what happened when I went for a job. And well, I'll just let you watch that video because I'd like you to see that. So my point here is that we just dissected the executive order for the University of California, written and proclaimed by Janet Napolitano, the president of the University of California, which is a type of government. School boards are a type of government because they're a governing body. And in your state, I would like you to look at your what's going on in your schools, at the universities. Many, many of you have written to me with concern over your children who have to be tested daily in order to be a student at the university, have to have the temperature taken by having the gun pointed to the head, which is absolutely ridiculous. First of all, you don't need to have that pointed at your head, all right? You can have it at your wrist, at your neck. I don't believe in having that done at all. You could even have take your own temperature or record it and share it. So I talked about that in a previous video also. My goal here is to empower you with education, to inspire you to take action, and to join me and to find connection at thehealthyamerican.org. I am so grateful to everyone who has been following me at the website, on Facebook, on YouTube. I will be having a Patreon channel coming up soon because I will have long form interviews that you can find. I have had so many interviews with top leaders here, top patriots, and I want to have those in a safe place where they will not be taken down, and kind of a little bit of a hurdle for the trolls to jump through, because I want to be surrounded by a bunch of yay sayers, not naysayers, and I can count you among the yay sayers. So thank you so much, everyone. It is so great to see you on board, taking action, educating yourself and others. Keep it up. It is very important. We are making waves. We are seeing successes, and that's because of you. All hands on deck. United we stand, and I'll see you very soon in the very next video.